Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would like to pose the following question to the nominee. I know he has taken time to explain something on edible oils, which is actually part of my question, and you allow me, it's not repetitive, but from another angle. Honorable Speaker, I would like to say that we spent around 160 billion on edible oils imports. The agricultural budget is around 84.9 billion, thereabout. And a lot of money is actually used there. AFA, the Agricultural Food Authority, has a department on edible oils. But the work that goes in there is probably very limited. Probably they are managing more the imports than actually growing the edible crops in this country. And that's why we get into this. And what do they get? They make around 2 billion shillings a year for the tax that is imposed on edible oil. And therefore, we are not solving the problem on edible oils. In the past, the nominee, crops such as coconut, cashew nuts, groundnuts, crops which are very passionate about because the region I come from actually grows these issues. But they have been neglected completely, such that coconut and cashew nuts are crops that are continue to decline. We have old boughs, we have the old tall coconut trees, and the productivity is shrinking every day, and yet we continue to import. We have the solution. The coast of Kenya and part of the eastern part can grow this macadamia and sim, sunflower, all those crops, and it made the people of the coast very rich, and the country got enough revenue. But they've been on the decline, and yet AFA, the department, the area of edible crops, is not doing much. Tell me, what kind of reforms will you bring to reduce the imports on edible oil, both legislative and policy, and also increase the production of cashew nuts and coconut so that we can cut down on the budget on oil crops? Secondly, Honorable Speaker, ADC is Agricultural Development Corporation, which is supposed to help the agriculture department. And one of the things that ADC did was to have enough land set aside. I had the question on now we are moving to settlement, and but ADC has swathes of land. But what has happened for many years, there has not been any protection on these. They've been divided, they've been given out. I know even the ADC in Malindi, they have a huge farm in Malindi, but now they're actually renting their own farm because people grabbed it. Now the land they own, they are actually paying rent on. In terms of policy and legislation, what are you going to do to protect ADC and actually spur the productivity of ADC to ensure that as a country we still anchor ourselves in agriculture, and from agriculture to manufacturing and to jobs? I thank you.
Robert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The nominee has come out as very brave because there's one answer he gave. I was very impressed when you said that you're willing to even advise in correcting the mess in state departments in the ministry. When you said that you feel that irrigation is misplaced and you will fight for it, that means you're a brave man. Now, I want to just point out two things. One which was raised by Honorable Naisula on the issue of Botswana, which actually exports 95% of its beef products to countries like Norway and the United Arab Emirates. And what she said is what I want to confirm, that actually they have a Botswana Meat Commission, which was borrowed heavily and fashioned after Kenya Meat Commission. But years later, while theirs is thriving, Kenya's KMC is actually now in the hands of the military. So I don't know, what would you do? Because as a brave person, you must be able to make very serious and tough decisions to bring back that livestock sector to what it should be. Now, secondly, the other issue is the issue of corruption in the ministry. From NCPB and those state departments within the ministry, there's a lot of, there's rampant corruption. In fact, I'll tell you that at one time, just recently, Kenyans were treated to a circus of, the sale of funny product in the name of fertilizer. And the parliament was actually seized of the matter and tried to handle it. Now, there's a gentleman who was my neighbor. This is a real story. And he had a piece of land, 5 acres. He was actually selling it. We were trying to get a buyer for him. Then he got appointed to the Kenya Sugar Board. Within a few months, he now started buying off all the neighbors and stopped selling his land. There is a lot of money that gets lost in our state departments, especially the agricultural one. Now, I've seen that you are worth 214 million. You are going into this sector. All those cartels are there, and they are willing to make you a billionaire within the next 3 years. Are you going to be able to resist, Bwana Nominee? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Dr. Karanja.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Will they make you a billionaire or you are a billionaire already?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Honorable Owen Bayer, for your question about this issue about edible oils. Yes, this is a classical case of we need to do import substitution. We cannot continue spending our good money importing things we can do in this country. As I indicated earlier, the edible oils is one of the key priorities in BETA, and if approved, I have no other alternative but to work day and night to make sure that we reduce the import bill, especially on edible oils, be it on sunflower, coconut, and cashew nuts. I know especially in the coastal zone, these are very good crops, which has been there, naturally growing there. What may be needed is to review the value chains. Their value chains, make sure that farmers are getting the necessary technologies and inputs, and also the machinery and technology to get the oil and others. Because edible oils also has another offshoot. Because, for instance, if you do sunflower, you do canola, when you squeeze the oil, what remains is what is used in animal feeds. And this is what we are importing. So it has it will help us in those areas that we get the oil, and also we support, especially our animal feeds industry. So it is quite a good industry where we need to work on. And if approved, I work day and night, I can assure you, to make sure that we reduce this import bill. It has been there. I know even in Western Kenya, there is also the issue about palm oil, which is coming up, where we can get the varieties to plant there. So it's something which is an open potential.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
just a quick supplementary, because I hear what the nominee is saying, especially in terms of edible oils and the value chain around the production and growth and production of edible oils. And I'm just wondering, because the nominee lives in this country, and he knows what has happened to the finance bill of this year. Part of the proposals that were in the finance bill sought to do exactly what you are saying, to protect the local industry in terms of local farmers who are growing sunflower, canola, and the other inputs for edible oils. And we sought to increase excise and import duty on imported edible oils so that we protect these local farmers and grow our own local industry for the production of edible oils, to do exactly what you are saying. Now, my question is, considering that Kenyans have told us they do not want us to increase import duty or excise duty on imported products, what other measures would you take or what non-tariff interventions would you have to ensure that we protect these local farmers, grow our own local industries, and at the same time do what Kenyans are asking us, not to increase access on the imported products? Or when you speak about import substitution, my understanding of import substitution, and I'm certain being a development economist, you know import substitution will
mean that we produce locally. Are there innovative ways that you'd work on, or would you now try to convince Kenyans that import substitution will entail levying some taxes on imported finished products to protect our local industries and create jobs for our young people in this country? As you said, our young people are interested in jobs around the value addition in agriculture, not necessarily in production of agricultural products. But there are also many young Kenyans who are in agricultural production, and a few who have interest in value addition. But what would you tell Kenyans in terms of import substitution and tax on imports?
Thank you for the intervention, Majority Leader. I think this is sometimes, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that there comes a time a nation has to choose what you have to do. I agree, there's a sentiment that we don't have to tax more, but when you are putting barriers in order for you to create an enabling environment for our farmers to be able to do this, and also create jobs. Because if we edible oils, as I have said, you get apart from production, you get to have technology to mill these edible oils, get the oil, purify the oil. That creates a lot of jobs. It creates a lot of jobs in livestock sector and other areas. So I would go both ways. Try to, if I'm approved, try to get interventions which you help the farmers do whatever they are supposed to do. For instance, subsidizing some of the inputs so that they are able to grow more and develop the necessary technologies and adopt the necessary technologies. But I would also like to convince Kenyans that this is something which we need to do. Get those taxes, create some barriers so that our industry, especially for oil, these imports, substitution, we get it right, because we should not be every import is a job exported. So we need also to have, we cannot have our cake and eat it at the same time.
Speaker, before the nominee moves to my next question on ADC, yes. Don't you think that the problem why everybody wants to import edible oil is because there are cartels that make a lot of money? That, you know, if you create an enabling environment to generate edible oil locally, you're actually killing other people's businesses. Companies, you know, we used to have a lot, the Shah companies that used to do a lot of manufacturing of edible oil in the country. We have a company in Mombasa. You know, they're closing down because there are cartels in this country that are hell-bent to ensure that they continue to import edible oil because it's big money. Okay, so how are you going to, I know you've come out very strong. I would like your commitment on how you're also going to fight cartels in the edible oil sector.
Yes, Junet, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, we need to contextualize this issue of palm oil properly. I wanted to ask the nominee that as we speak now, close to 90% of Kenyans use products of palm oil, imported palm oil, as cooking oil. 90% as we speak now. Now, we can only get rid of it when we develop the other products, the sunflower and what is the other thing? Canola and other things. But now, until that is grown and developed, you can't stop, because if you levy taxes on the palm oil now because of, you're saying, quote-unquote cartels, then cooking oil will become very expensive, because the sunflower and the canola are not ready now to take over. So you can only develop that other side. When it is ready is when now you switch from the palm oil to that. But if you say they are cartels, those are stories in the street.
Order. Answer the questions. This is not a debate between members.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable members, Junet and Owen, for your interventions. I think there is
a question pending on ADC.
Yes.
And dismantling cartels.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this shows you the robustness of this debate, that we need to deal with the two sides. I agree 100% with what Honorable Junet is saying, that we need, in terms of timing, we need to, when we are phasing out the imports, we are coming in with strongly on the locally. So that is a matter of timing. That is a matter of timing, but we need to yeah. Thank you. So I think that's one issue which I would definitely, if I'm approved, I would look at it and see the switching, the timing. If I go back to Honorable Baya, there was issue about ADC. ADC used to be a very prime parastatal government agency, where we used to get even the planting materials. We used to get, for instance, even livestock, Mutara Ranch, the rest. But it has gone down. I don't know, I will have to, when I get, if I get approval, I have to make sure that I visit them, I know what is aiding them. And the issue is, what role should they play in this dispensation which we are in? For instance, we know that we need a lot of planting materials, we need a lot of, like we are talking about livestock breeds, the Sahiwas, the Borans. What role can they play in that, aligning themselves to that priority in the sector? So that is, when I come in, if I'm approved, is some of the areas which I would like to pursue quickly, because I'm sure they have the capacity. They need only to go through what they need to do. Honorable Baya, thank you for your question. And one of them is, oh, yeah, most of them I'm answered. Yes. Whether I can resist, whether they will be able to make me a billionaire. I come, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, I come from a point of, one of my clear areas which I am saying is non-negotiable is that is issues to do with accountability and being able to stand for what is public good. And I think that, to me, will be uncompromised. I'll pray to God that I will not vacate that principle. Yeah, because I need divine intervention. I know it's not easy.
You should start with your will to resist before God helps you. Yes.
I'm wondering, because he's saying he's going to pray. Are you going to pray so that you are not a billionaire? Because the question was, are you going to resist those cartels?
He will pray to God to give him courage to resist.
Yeah, Mr.
Yes, Mule?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Dr. Karanja, I have no doubt in my mind you know exactly what entails in the entire agriculture and livestock sector. And as members of parliament, we are here to hear you and your suitability. And I know we are live to the entire public, and quite a number of Kenyans are watching. And I want to get a feedback after this from the mama mboga, the tea farmer, the coffee farmer, the sugar farmer, whereby you tell them on their face on the actual policies you are going to do. And I'll give you two scenarios. The first scenario is that we have a crisis at the tea sector, whereby 32 billion shillings worth of tea is unsold at the Mombasa auction, whereby it will enter and hamper the payouts to the farmers at the tea sector. As we speak, the mama mboga at the market right now, who expect to get tomatoes from the local farmers and come and resell to make little money, the entire market as we speak today, Korokosho, Kibera, Kamukunji, any market, it's flooded with tomatoes. It's flooded with skumawiki. It's flooded with onions. It's flooded with cabbage from within the country and our neighbors. how will you handle the imports from our local neighbors to safeguard our local farmers who have gone a serious challenge to produce, and a Mama Mboga who is waiting for the same produce at Korogosho market, yet a truck has come from a neighboring country, I don't want to name any, and has already delivered the same produce, reducing the price of tomatoes from 3,000, as we speak this morning. This is a reality. 3,500 per crate to 700 shillings. The farmer is losing because he can't get his input on the produce, and the Mama Mboga cannot get an extra coin as expected. The coffee industry, the farmers at this right time, most of them are picking up coffee, taking them to the factories. They are not very sure. They have spent substantial amount of money to produce that coffee. They are not very sure of the market of their coffee if they are selling it. As a cabinet secretary for nominee for agriculture, if, and I use the word if carefully, approved, what do you tell that Kenyan? Don't tell us, we have seen your CV, Mama Mboga has not seen your CV, we know your expertise from the document. Tell the real Kenyan down at the grassroots, what will you do as a minister for agriculture to protect them and add chain value for their produce and give them a hope? Thank you.
Russell, just filter the, that was a long speech with one question. So, yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Dr. Karanja, if you will be approved, you will run the largest ministry in government. That contributes almost 25–26% to the Kenyan GDP. That is how important that ministry is. Agriculture has a lot of distortion around the world. In America, they say 20% of the population feeds the other 80%. While in Kenya, they say that 20% is the land that is actually productive, while 80% is not useless, but a land that is there. Looking at your CV, you have either been a lead consultant or a lead economist in the programs called DRIVE, KSAP, Ending Drought Emergencies and Resilient Program, Carlo, ILRI, Global Environmental Facility, among many others, all dealing in two areas: livestock and the ASAL. These programs are supported by either World Bank or the European Union. But on the reverse, when you look at, have those regions really benefited? Tell us one program that is successful to say that, yes, it has succeeded. Honorable colleagues have talked about irrigation. Year in, year out, for now, two governments, we are talking about Galana Kulalu. And yet, Mwea irrigation, Moroni, all those were done almost before independence or just around independence. My question to you, one, is Kenya really throwing away good money by engaging with World Bank and European Union, where when they give us 10 shillings, we are told you only give